VLR.
This show is produced by IJReview.com.
This show is copyright by VLR Media. All opinions of panelists and guests are their own and may not reflect the opinion of VLR Media, the host, or anyone else.
Let's be clear. Now let's be clear. Now let's be clear. There are no winners here. Now let's be clear. Now let's be clear. Now let's be clear. There are no winners here.
Two minds are better than one. Time for the right mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausum.
Well, gone for 3 weeks. Lots of stuff. Great guests. We have Dan Joseph from the Research Center. Love Dan's video. We'll be on at 2:30 Eastern Time. And then at 3 o'clock, we have John Cave at Rick's. How's it seems like we've been gone for a month, man.
You know what, man? It is, can you hear me okay, by the way?
I can hear you fine. Jessica, what's going on?
I'm working on that now.
Is that going out that way?
It shouldn't be.
That's great. Those of you that's going to be fantastic. Look at that. How was your time off?
It sounds like you asked me how my time was. Is that correct?
Yeah. We're screwed right now.
We're on the air, Mike. That's good. So, my is good. It does indeed feel like, oh my gosh, it's been since we sat down and talked about stuff, man.
You know, I have the same thing. I understand what you're saying. Anyway, I want to talk about. Listen, we need to do stuff. That's the We'll be back. Jessica? God.
Hey, guys.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yo.
Both of our NSA guys are pissed. That's the only
and then
I can come to.
Yeah, and then when you combine them with our brilliant minds, maybe that's it too. Maybe we just reached critical mass and the server couldn't handle it.
Yeah, exactly. So, Watson, if you're listening, how do we sound right now, brother? We're checking this via Twitter, man. This is fantastic. Super fun.
Yeah, this is great. Anyway, dude, it does seem, let's talk when we can actually understand each other. It seems like we've been off a month.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yowza, man.
I was having withdrawals, dude.
Right. So we did last Tuesday was our last day, and then Christmas and a bunch of stuff going on. And I'd kind of taken, you're going through articles and stuff to talk about today, and I'm like, you know what, we should do some year-end review stuff or whatever, but not,
Nah,
it's kind of nice to take a little bit of a break, although I do miss jabbing with you about all the stuff, man. That's for dang sure.
No kidding. You know what? That's a good idea. Maybe tomorrow we should do a couple of our faves from the year, since we're going to do what we did last week all over again. Tomorrow will be our last show of the year. But yeah, rockstar guest, as you said, Dan Joseph, people probably didn't hear, Media Research Center. This guy's videos are hilarious. I mean, for those of you who are not familiar with Dan, and you have watched the O'Reilly Factor along the way, it's similar. His videos are similar to Waters' World, Jesse Waters, but I like him even better because this guy is hilarious. And then we have John Gabriel at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. He is editor at Ricochet. We have a couple, 2 or 3 of his articles to talk about. So it's going to be a quick-paced show, Howsam, and we're already through 12 minutes of it. Dude, I want to start out, if it's okay with you, get your feelings on this growing list. I mean, obviously, last week ago, last Saturday, the execution of the 2 New York City police officers. And then the subsequent shootings. Thank God no one has died, but this stuff is starting to pop up all over the country. And are you surprised at all?
You know what? Here's my question about that. Are the occurrences of these greater, less than, similar to what happens all the time? I mean, if you think about the 50 states and the, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of city and state and county and local police departments, there's guns going off all the time, every single day.
Well, there's no question.
Right? So this is what my question is about it, is I just saw that there was a shooting, and I think you had said nobody was killed here in Los Angeles, right?
Right.
So is that, and it's like, oh my gosh, another shooting in Los Angeles. Is that because we're aware of all this stuff now?
Go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
Is it that we're aware of it? Is it kind of the same as it always is, but we're looking at it differently?
I don't think so, and I have no empirical data or evidence to support what I'm about to say, which is cool because then I can make stuff up. No, I'm kidding, but here's the deal. Okay, you take the shooting in L.A. All right, they're still looking for the guy. I don't know. Last I looked, they were still looking for the guy. It was a long gun, as they say, a rifle. If you look at pics online, the car, it looks like a Bonnie and Clyde car. It's just unbelievable that the officer or officers in the car were not hit. There are bullet holes all over the hood, on the fender. There's at least one through the windshield. They have no idea. The one that happened in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. Thank God again, the officer saw the guy or guys, this might have been 2 guys, kind of sneaking up on the police car from behind. So he jumps out, he dives, he fired shots, they fired shots. No word, and they don't know if either of the guys who obviously got away were hit. So here, listen, there are run-ins between malcontents and the police all the time, and police officers killed. But this kind of random, sneak up on you and shoot at you just because you're a police officer, you know what? If that does happen on a semi-regular basis, I'm not aware of it, but it's awful coincidental in light of what went on in New York City.
Yeah, now when you put it like that, when you put the context being, walk up to the side of the car, or not in a chase or some sort of situation like that, kind of an out of the blue, then you're absolutely right.
And that's exactly these last 2 incidents and the NYPD incident. That's exactly what happened. And you know what? You're talking about it being coincidental, and I'm doing air quotes as I say that. Again, let's go back to Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson in Ferguson, and what's going on. And I thought about this a lot, particularly after I saw the 3rd one in Durham. Listen, screw Jackson, okay, and screw Sharpton. These guys have been race baiters for decades. We knew that. But here's what has me pissed off today, if you will. Dude, I couldn't wait to get back, and I'm full of piss and vinegar. But
it's so perfect.
You know what? And screw the liberal media. But Barack Obama, Eric Holder, and listen, remove color from these guys' skins. You got the President of the United States, a top law enforcement officer in the country. They don't have the decency, the responsibility, and moral compass to call for an end to this madness. They should have come out. Screw Holder even. Obama should have come out and made a statement. He did not. He issued a statement, which he probably didn't. Well, I know he didn't write it. He may not even have seen it. But where was he when Trayvon was shot? Rose Garden. Where was he when the Gentle Giant Mike Brown was shot? Rose Garden or whatever. Anywhere at the White House. Where was he when Eric Garner was killed? Rose Garden, somewhere in the White House. Where was he when the 2 cops were executed in New York City? Nowhere to be found. They issue a statement. Shame on him and shame on Eric, my people Holder, because they are a disgrace when it comes to condemning real stuff that happened versus just speculating on what may or may not have happened, man.
Yeah, it's all so defined by their political narrative, their level of interest. I mean, it was a black dude. One of the cops in New York was black, right?
One of the cops in New York, no, one was Hispanic, and what was the other one?
Oh, Asian.
Asian, that's correct. Yeah, right.
That's exactly right. So no chance for if I had a son, he would look like that.
Well, none that we know of, because he did spend some time in some.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So tell me, man, how was your well, you want to talk politics. I was going to ask you how your Christmas was.
No, we can do that. We just got a jam-packed show, but no, it was great. Had the kids. We do Christmas Eve. How about you? Is your big day Christmas Eve or Christmas?
Christmas Eve. Danny and I went down to San Diego to hang out with my parents. So we did a thing with them on Christmas Eve and had a big dinner. But with kiddo-related stuff is always a Christmas Day deal.
There's no doubt. And of course, I'm a foodie, like to cook and all that kind of stuff. But enjoyed doing that stuff. Enjoyed making the food. Wife having a glass of whatever she drinks while we like to have just a bit while we're cooking, and so that was all fun. And then everybody shows up Christmas Eve, and you do the thing. So me being 147 years old, it's the grandkids thing. Is of course I have 1.5. I mean, one's going to be 4 on Valentine's Day, and the other one was born in June, so it's kind of 1.5. But it's just it's fun, and it kind of puts things in perspective, does it not?
Oh, it totally does, man. I mean, you're hugging and kissing and being around those that you love, whether they're 6 months old, or in my folks' case, my mom is 74. It's like, you know what? This is what life's about.
It really is. And as hard as it normally is for me to not want to go to the computer, check out what's going on politically. Of course, stories, as you and I both know, they hardly change sometimes over the weekend unless there's breaking news online. But stuff, pretty slowed down, obviously, during Christmas Eve and Christmas. But I didn't even think about that stuff, and that's kind of a breaking news story for Mike Miller. But I didn't, and it was fun. Now, by Friday, right, I was raring to go, dude. I almost just dragged out the microphone and stuff and did a pretend show just to to
just to rant about something. Yeah,
Yes.
you know what? I didn't, man. Friday I played. All weekend I played. I did yesterday. And it did feel good, man. I did a story yesterday, and I did a kind of a mashup video of Don Lemon's biggest gaffes over the year.
Yeah, how could you triage that?
Well, the Columbian Journalism Review or something like that gave him an award for one of the worst journalists of 2014.
Shock.
So, what was kind of fun is that all of the major issues that they identified as huge gaffes, IJR wrote big, huge stories on all of them. So it was kind of fun to be able to, it was fun to see that when Columbia went through and said, oh my gosh, these are the most significant things that this moron did all year.
Right.
IJ Review was on every single one of those. We didn't miss a single one.
We normally don't, and that's awesome. You know what I did? I mean, just backing up just a tad, and then let's move forward. And got some year-end Obama stuff. I'm trying to cram stuff in this half hour because we got 2 awesome guests coming up in the next 2 segments. But the pic you put up of the beach with the pier, which beach was that? That was awesome.
That is Newport Beach, and that is the Balboa Pier.
The only thing that was disappointing about it to me, I couldn't look at the pier through your toes.
Well, you know what? It was absolutely freezing cold.
I
okay.
actually wait. Back up the bus. Okay, we're in Newport Beach. Define freezing cold for me, please.
When we were walking,
Hashtag wimp.
It was probably 64, 5, 6, something like. Well, let's just put it this way. I actually